I've got something I want to tell you. Sharing this isn't easy. It's painful, in fact. Our relationship is about to fundamentally change forever. I know this from bitter experience. The relationship fundamentally changes, the energy within it, after I've disclosed. It's happened before and it'll happen again. I may look normal, but I'm far from it. I wear a mask and I wear it in plain sight. You can't tell by looking at me, but I'm bipolar. I don't want to avoid this conversation. I just want to manage the message. If I own the narrative, then I control the message. Part of me knows that I've got to confess. I have a duty to tell you, in the sense that I've been hiding a part of my identity and not being completely honest about it. Somewhat unscrupulous. Even though I may not be under suspicion. If I don't tell you myself, then there's a risk that you could talk to somebody else and they might tell you that I'm bipolar. It's in this scenario that I'm not in control of the narrative anymore. I want you to hear it from me first, because we're equals. There's me, and then there's my illness. Don't judge me on this one single facet of my life. Have I come out in the past? Has it worked? No, it hasn't. Has that affected me? Yes, there's always a risk of telling people. It just depends on you. Will it be good? Will it be bad? Will it turn out well? Will it turn out poor for me? Am I afraid or am I brave? Have I suffered in the past? I don't really suffer symptoms. I just suffer other people's perceptions of me. It's called stigma. And sending this message is the antidote to stigma. Not just for me, but for lots of other people with a diagnosis as well. The backstory. So I had an incident in 1995 when I was 23 years old at university. So the how, after much drinking, too many all-nighters, too much caffeine, too many recreational drugs, that incident pushed me over the edge. Crazy guy, loony, two sheets to the wind, whatever you want to refer to it as, that was how I got my diagnosis. For nearly 5 terrible years after that first event, I was a troubled person, really. It was awful, hugely painful for me, and you can imagine how awful it was for my family. So I want to put your mind at rest. I have to prove to you that I'm okay. I have to address your doubts and then put your mind at rest. I know we've all been programmed to have legitimate doubts about these crazy ones, the ones who've got potential to harm, the ones who end up in the newspapers. But this is a media-based assumption. Look, all I can say is that I am safe. I am not a threat. I was discharged from psychiatric care in 2013 and the spell was finally lifted. You only get discharged if you've been well for a long period of time. In 18 years, I've only been hospitalised once. My life is not worth putting on a sensationalised front cover of a newspaper because it doesn't contain any fear. It will not sell newspapers. So what's the science behind the stigma? Exactly what is behind my diagnosis? How did it happen? What were the circumstances? What led to it happening? These are the questions. What are the origins behind it? Is it genes? Is it in your blood? Is it down to stress? Is it down to environment? What exactly led to the hospitalisation? What is the exact psychiatrist report on me? Every experience of mental illness is different and unique. Some people have it really bad, other people don't. My diagnosis is similar to any other medical diagnosis. As far as I'm aware, it's very similar to diabetes. So what is it that keeps me going? Did it beat me? No, I've already reached recovery. I'm settled down, 10 years and counting, 2 little wonderful children. I'm a proud family man. How did I make it? What is the secret of my success? My wife is the key. She's my consultant, psychiatrist, nurse, my coach, my mum, and my boss. We've mastered self-management together, created checkpoints, preventative measures, and contingencies, i.e. if I wake up 3 days in a row at 5:30 a.m, then we have to take action. That's either medication or go to see a GP and talk about it. My wife will not allow me to ruin our lives with my behaviour, and I'm forever in a debt for this attitude and this approach, not to mention accepting me for everything that I am in the first place. She's my rock. Okay, so I'm at work with you and I get ill. What happens? I really care about my reputation as a professional. Okay, I was lucky enough to get the best part of the illness, which is called bipolar type 2. That means that there's very little depression, if any. All you suffer from is high and elated moods, mania, inspiring ideas, fast thinking. So what I've done is tried to harness those best parts and take advantage of them within the industry that I work in. So I managed its challenges in order to live well, to do excellent work, and to contribute positively to the world. I take my meds, I never miss them, I do exercise, and I sleep well. As I mentioned before, my wife and I have developed healthy habits, and if we detect a change, then we take action accordingly. Now that might only mean a day or 2 days off work, the same way as someone else might be off for a cold or flu, and that's about the long and short of it. Well, where do I find myself now? I wanted a great career success before coming out. I haven't come out thus far because I felt like I had to get a 20-year career behind me, one that I could clearly prove on my CV that I could cope in advertising at a senior level. I owe that to every employer. Bipolar type 2 is perfect for Adland. I've got neurodiversity. I don't think from the mainstream. I think on the fringes and on the edges. And that's perfect for me. It's like a nomadic creative lifestyle, and that's clearly been my saviour. My work proves that. I try to harness bipolar strengths. There's a real benefit to being bipolar. It's a disorder that's designed for design, and it's linked to creativity, seeing connections at speed. And so being bipolar confers both vision and the attitude necessary to turn vision into reality. And finally, bipolar has made me a better person, more understanding of others, more sympathetic of my fellow human being, less ego and less selfish. But above all else, bipolar seats you in possibility. For 23 years, I've lived in the stasis of optimism. I know I was given this life because I was strong enough to live it. Thanks for listening. I hope we can still be friends, now you know.